to another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But Super Wildcard weekend. It's here and it's now. But before we get into that, there is one other order of business we need to address. And that is something that happened this past Monday night. We all know what that is. History was made. We crowned a new college football playoff national champion, and they are the Made in Georgia Bulldogs. They did it. They did the impossible. They knocked off the Alabama Crimson Tide, a final score of 33-18 at Lucas Oil Stadium this past Monday night. And wow. And how did it happen? Well, it started 9:55 remaining in the first quarter. Alabama, Will Reichard hit a 37-yard field goal. Made it 3-0 Alabama. With 12:35 to go in the second quarter, Jack Podlesny hit a 24-yard field goal for Georgia, tying the game at 3. And then about a minute and change later, with 11:13 to go, Will Reichard hit another field goal, this one from 45, 6-3 Alabama. 7:07 to go, Will Reichard hit another field goal from 37. That made it 9-3 Alabama. And then with 3:09 to go in the half, Jack Podlesny hit another field goal from 49. 9-6. It was 9-6 Alabama at the end of the first half. And, Michael Bullock and I, we had our Raw chat the other night, and we were flipping between Monday Night Raw and this game. And we said to ourselves at that moment, I told Bullock, hey, this is a game that good old MF Michael Fletcher would be proud of, because MF, if anybody knows MF like I do, he loves defensive battles. And the first half, it was a defensive battle. Imagine if that had been the final score. MF would have been going nuts. But, oh boy, would that change in the second half. Third quarter, with 1:20 to go, Zamir White, a 1-yard touchdown run for Georgia. Extra point was good, 13-9 Georgia. And then in the fourth quarter, 12:59 to go, Will Reichard hit a 21-yard field goal for Alabama, cut it to 1, 13-12. And then on this touchdown drive for Alabama, they had a little help from the referees, a very questionable call, beyond questionable call, that gave them the ball, and of course they took advantage of it. Cameron Latu with a 3-yard touchdown reception. They tried for 2, but it failed. 18-13 Alabama. 10:14 to go. And then with 8:09 to go, Stetson Bennett with a 40-yard touchdown pass to Adonai Mitchell. They went for 2. That didn't work. Georgia went up 19-18. 3:33 to go in the game. Stetson Bennett with a 15-yard touchdown pass to Brock Bowers. Extra point was good, 26-18. But then the play that sealed it, the play that sealed the national championship for the Made in Georgia Bulldogs, Kaylee Ringo with a 79-yard interception return, pick 6, extra point good. Final score, 33-18. The Made in Georgia Bulldogs winning their first national championship since 1980, since the days of Herschel Walker and the legendary coach Vince Dooley, who was in attendance for that championship game on Monday night. It's their third overall. They won a national championship before in 1980. That was in 1942. So this is their third national championship, but their first in 41 years. And the numbers here, they combined for over 700 yards of offense. They combined for 763 yards of offense, 42 first downs. The possession was 31-31 for Alabama, 28-29 for Georgia. Bama committed 2 turnovers. Georgia committed 1. And for Georgia, Stetson Bennett was 17 of 26, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Adonai Mitchell and Brock Bowers had the receiving touchdowns, of course. George Pickens was the leading receiver, 52 yards on 1 catch. For the running game, Zamir White, 13 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown for him. James Cook added 77 yards on 6 carries. They lost the fumble. And their defense recorded 4 sacks in the game. And, of course, that pick 6 that ended it for them. It was their second of the game, second interception overall. Bryce Young, 35 for Alabama. Bryce Young, 35 of 57, 369 yards, 1 touchdown, but he threw 2 interceptions. Brian Robinson Jr. was the leading rusher, 68 yards on 22 carries. Leading receiver was Cameron Latu, 102 yards on 5 catches for a touchdown. Jamison Williams had 4 catches for 65 yards before leaving with an injury. And their defense recorded 5 sacks. 3 of them were Christian Harris. Christian Harris had 3 sacks, and Dallas Turner added 2 for a total of 5. They did not have any interceptions, but that's the story. And what can you say? What a great couple of months for the state of Georgia. I mean, about almost 2.5 months ago, they celebrated the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series for the first time since 1995. And now, who would have thought 2.5 months later, their beloved Maiden Georgia Bulldogs would be bringing home their first national championship in 41 years, 1980, the 80-81 season. That's the last time they did it. Vince Dooley was the coach. Of course, the star, the legendary Herschel Walker, one of the greatest running backs of all time. And what a story for them. And now, I don't mean any disrespect to Alabama. I really don't. They're a damn good team, but, I'm just one of those folks who are just, sick and tired of the same thing every year. But I can't tell you how happy I was to see Bama go down and see somebody else win for a change. I mean, I've compared Alabama to the New England Patriots, like, the days of Brady and Belichick when they were winning all those championships and dominating and winning year after year after year after year. Drove me nuts. But when I saw Georgia win that championship, I was just like, yes, thank you, Lord. I was just so happy. I mean, they're great. They really are. But it's just nice to see somebody else get the spotlight for a change, and a very deserving program. And I think we knew from the opening week against Clemson all the way to this, there was no question in our minds that the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs were the best team in college football. Yes, they had the one hiccup, and that was the SEC Championship. But other than that, they dismantled Michigan, much to MF's chagrin, in the Orange Bowl a couple weeks ago, 34-11. And then this win here against Bama, I mean, just so happy for those guys. I mean, Kirby Smart finally getting the best of Nick Saban. They had a nice little moment after the game, and nice little moment of respect, and the confetti rained down on Georgia. They win the national championship, their first in 41 years, and I'm just so happy for those guys. They deserve every bit of it. And I mean, I don't know what else there is for me to say except Stetson Bennett was the offensive player of the game, and I believe Lewis Sine was the defensive player of the game. But nonetheless, congratulations to Georgia. And it's sad because that brings the college football season to an end. And fortunately, we got to wait a good 7+ months to do it all again. Probably at the end of August, I reckon. So probably, I think it's August 27th, I believe. But when it comes to that opening week, I already know what the game of the week for week 1 next year is going to be. and that's Notre Dame and Ohio State. And I'm not kidding. Notre Dame and Ohio State are going to square off on that opening night. So I cannot wait for that. I mean, I got a bad feeling about it, of course. I got a bad feeling that Ohio State's going to beat the you-know-what out of us, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. So, I mean, hey, if Michigan can beat them, surely we can too. So we'll see. But congratulations to Kirby Smart and the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs. Well-deserved, and can't wait to do it again next year. So there isn't much more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher. I mean, you were high on this team from the very beginning, ever since that dominant defensive performance against Clemson in the opening game this past season. And then every week on our College Football Thursday show, MF would always preach about how damn good Georgia is. He would always say, Georgia's the best team. Georgia's the best.
And I yeah, Anthony, I was just gonna say that you pretty much just said everything that I thought of, and I'll openly admit this. Honestly, I was watching the game. I was watching the game very intently, very closely during the national championship game, and I was feeling the same thing. Neither offenses really got going. The defenses definitely ruled, especially in the first half. But I really think what really helped Georgia was that they were able to establish a run attack. All of a sudden, they were able to get the running game going, and what led to that first touchdown for Georgia was, remember, it was that 60-yard run where they almost got the touchdown. I think he got pushed out in the red zone alert. Few plays later, they were able to get it down close enough goal line distance, and then was able to punch it in, and that was the first touchdown of the game. But then Stetson Bennett was able to calm down. He because you could feel the jitters were there, but then he made one massive mistake, which was the fumble. And it was a fumble. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. I know everybody's like, "Oh, this should be no." The ball came out well before the it was the empty hand thing, is what they call it. It's the empty hand. That was a clear-cut fumble recovered by Alabama, and Bama made them pay by getting the touchdown. But then Georgia didn't lose their head. They stayed in it, got another drive, got the touchdown. Bama started going down the field. Then Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner, the Heisman jinx reared its head. That's when he underthrew his receiver. It wasn't an overthrow. It was an underthrow. That was the interception. That was the pick six. That was the national championship for the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs. The whole season, I was watching Georgia, and I'm like, guys, they're the national champions. They look like a team that can win this. And the thing is because of the fact that, they were just like Florio. They're sick and tired of hearing the narrative about Alabama. They were sick and tired of hearing how Georgia couldn't beat Alabama. And then on top of that, remember, SEC Championship, they got demolished by the Crimson Tide. The Crimson Tide literally took them out. And I know they were like, all right, fine. You give us another shot at Alabama, we're going to take them out. Well, they got that second chance, and they made it worth its while. They played literally the perfect game against Alabama. They were able to stymie that offense enough, but one other factor in the game, remember, Alabama lost their best receiver. They had one of their receivers already out due to injury because he suffered the injury in the game against Cincinnati, but then they lost their number 2 receiver, and he got hurt in the national championship game. Remember, Bryce Young nailed him on a 40-yard bomb, but then he pulled up lane. He tore his ACL literally during that game. How do you recover from that? Bama just didn't have the horses after that, and you could tell their offense went absolutely stagnant. They were able to get it through running attack. They were able to get it through the tight ends, but you didn't have a reliable receiver at that point, and that's why Georgia started going into more of a man-to-man, and they were using double coverage. They were basically using two downfield, what they call the Tampa 2 coverage, and that's how the pick six happened. So yeah, no, Georgia definitely earned it. They deserved it. They were the best team all season. Better than Bama. Bama was shaky all year long. There was a few moments where they should have been upsetted and should have been knocked out. There was never one true team that you could say like, oh my goodness, they were gonna. This team could be that team. I'm sorry. I heard about Cincinnati, and yeah, I was drinking the Kool-Aid until Alabama literally demolished them, and then I'm like, frauds. That's what they were. Nothing but frauds. With Michigan had an incredible run. They overachieved. Just to get to the Final Four is even better than anything that even I would have expected. I was like, all right, you know what? Beat Ohio State, that's great. Win the Big Ten championship, now that's even bigger. I honestly thought, I was like, you know what? If we can make Final Four, that's great. But the one thing I was thinking was just get to the Rose Bowl. Get to the Rose Bowl. We play it. Who knows how that sets up? We'll go from there. At the end of the day, Michigan did make the Final Four. I was excited. Obviously, we got trounced by Georgia, but if we keep Jim Harbaugh as the head coach, and already some of these guys who has already committed and saying that they're staying in Michigan next year, dude, I'm telling you right now, Michigan is going to be a problem in the Big Ten. They're going to be probably the favorite going into the Big Ten, and maybe, just maybe, we could see Michigan back in the college football playoff next year. So expectations are now higher for the Wolverines. So we'll see how that plays out more than anything else. But yeah, the true winners were Georgia. They deserved the national championship. Mike Bullock just showed up. So, Mike, all we're just talking about is the Georgia Bulldogs, the maiden Georgia Bulldogs, winning the national championship, and they did it in grand style on Monday night. So it's yours, Bullock.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, going into this, I'm sure Alabama was the favorite, and yeah, for a moment, we thought it looked like they were gonna win it, but Georgia obviously pulled it out, and then obviously what we saw, guys, when we were doing our Raw review, we saw the interception that pretty much sealed the victory for the main Georgia Bulldogs, and I'm so happy for Kirby Smart, because there were all those people out there who were saying, "Oh, Georgia, if he can't win the national championship this year, he'll never win one." Well, guess what, folks? He's finally got that national championship, and basically he's got that huge monkey off his back now, and what can you say, Fletch? It's been a good time for the people in Georgia, of course, with this, and most recently your Atlanta Braves winning the 2021 World Series. So Georgia right now it's been a real good time for them. So yeah, and Bennett was obviously named the offensive player of the game for what he did, and yeah, Georgia finally gets that big moment, winning the national championship for the first time, and yeah, basically all I could say is congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs, and when it comes to next season, Georgia's going to be a contender. obviously Alabama will still be a contender, no doubt about it. And like Fletch said, you got to put the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, Michigan was just, I mean, they got to the Final Four, but obviously now they need to take that next step if they want to get to the national championship this time around. So, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to add. The Maine and Georgia Bulldogs, your college football playoff national champion for 2022. So Florio, it is yours.
And actually, shout out to Maria Taylor. Shout out to L. Duncan. I'm trying to think. I think, and there was a couple of other people. And actually, shout out to Charles Barkley for having the cojones to pick Georgia to win the national championship. Even though a lot of people were telling Chuck, "Don't pick Georgia. Don't pick Georgia. Don't pick Georgia," and he did. And this is the third time he actually got a guarantee correct on Inside the NBA. He picked the Milwaukee Bucks to win the NBA championship. Correct. He picked the Atlanta Braves to win the World Series. Correct. And now he just got the Made in Georgia Bulldogs calling for them to win the national championship, where everybody else was saying, no, don't pick them, don't pick them. He got it right, guys. You owe him the big thank you for that one. Whenever he does these guarantees, they're wrong. Almost 90% of the time, they're wrong. But when it comes to the championships, he's been 3 for 3.
Yeah, and you also have to think of all the great players that came out of the University of Georgia who never got the chance to experience what this Georgia Bulldog team experienced on Monday night, winning a national championship. I mean,
like Sony Michel, for instance.
Yes, so many really great names that came out of that school never got to experience exactly Florio. So, and I'm sure all those Georgia players were thinking about the past players that came out of the university that never got to experience what they experienced on Monday night.
41 years. That's how long it was. 41 years for the Made in Georgia Bulldogs. And Coach Dooley, Vince Dooley, who was there, he was, he probably had a big grin on his face, maybe had some tears of joy. And I'm sure wherever he was, Herschel Walker, who was the star of that team, I mean, he was very pleased, I know. And all the alums that's what Bullock gets into. I mean, the past alumnus, past team members who maybe never got to experience the joy of winning a championship. And he's absolutely right. So, all right. So with that being said, gentlemen, it's time once again for Super Wildcard Weekend. We're all set for Super Wildcard Weekend after a Sunday, Week 18, full of drama with playoff implications. Raiders, Chargers. I'm just saying. But anyways, locked into the number one seed in the NFC. The Green Bay Packers didn't have to worry about seeding in a contest with the Detroit Lions. On Sunday, the Tennessee Titans had to battle through 4 quarters with the Houston Texans to secure the top spot in the AFC. As the Packers and Titans rest for a week, 12 teams will pair off for some intriguing contests in the first round of the playoffs. For this preview, we'll break down all the games as we always do, project the winner. You know how we do it. How many road teams will advance? Who's going to make a strong statement in the first round of the postseason? Let's find out. So, with that being said, let's start it off with our first game. Now, here's the deal. There's going to be 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and for the first time, well, in the first time in one sense, there will be a Monday night game. I'm going to have an interesting backstory on that in just a moment. But before I get into all that, let's start it off with the first of our 6 games that will take place this Saturday at 4:30 on NBC and streaming on Peacock. Out of the AFC, it will be the number 5 seed, the Las Vegas Raiders, squaring off against the number 4 seed, the Cincinnati Bengals, Paul Brown Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. Mike Tirico, Drew Brees, Catherine Tappan will be on the call for that one. And the spread currently favors the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals opening up as 5.5-point favorites. They've met twice in postseason before, both in the divisional playoffs, and both times the Raiders won those games. The Raiders have a 2-0 postseason advantage over the Bengals. 1975, they met in the AFC divisional playoff in Oakland when they were the Oakland Raiders. Oakland Raiders won that game by a score of 31-28. The other meeting, it was 1975. It was probably played in January of 76, or maybe it was December of 75. I don't know. It was probably January 76. But the other, 1990, probably in January of 91, in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum when they were the Los Angeles Raiders. Raiders won that game by a score of 20-10. So 2-0 Raiders in the series history all time in the playoffs. The weather forecast calls for, as of right now, I just want to make sure I have the right day. All right. I believe they're in the, I don't know if Ohio's in the Eastern time zone or the Central time zone. I think they're in the East. So we're talking about around the 4:35 o'clock hour. So game time temperature will be between 30 and 31 degrees. Game probably goes on for about 3 or 4 hours. And by the end of the game, it'll be right around 26 degrees. But wait till you hear the forecast for the next game. Ooh, wait till you hear that forecast. But anyways, let's get into this. Do not overlook the Raiders in this matchup. They've allowed an average of 19.8 points a game over the last 4 weeks. Vegas has also found some balance on offense. While quarterback Derek Carr has made clutch plays late in games, he's had complimentary help from the ground attack that's averaged 139.7 rushing yards over the last 3 outings. The Bengals will bring some sizzle thanks to quarterback Joe Burrow and the electric duo Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, who will have their first taste of playoff action. Nonetheless, running back Joe Mixon may hold the key to victory against the Raiders' 20th ranked run defense. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Mixon tested positive for COVID-19 this week. However, he was cleared, so he will play. Vegas fields the 9th ranked pass defense, which will make it difficult for Burrow, Chase, and Higgins on the back end. Coupled with solid coverage, edge rushers Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby should be able to consistently collapse the pocket. Burrow has taken the most sacks this season, 51. Under constant duress, he may make a couple of mistakes, and which would allow the Raiders to score off turnovers. But I don't know why, but I mean, the Raiders definitely have a chance for an upset. They really do. But considering that it's been 30 plus years since the Bengals have won a playoff game, I got a hunch they're due. And I say they win this game. And I'm going to say they win this game by a final score of 27-24. Give me the, or actually I should say 26-24. 26-24. I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals to knock off the Las Vegas Raiders in what I believe will be a great start to this second annual Super Wildcard weekend. And I already believe these matchups are better than last year's. So that's all I can say on that. So 26-24, I'm going with Cincinnati to win. MF, Bengals, AFC North champs. But all I can say is that Charger Raider game Sunday night. Oh, my God.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that we could have talked about for that game. Obviously, there was the threat of a possible tie that would have prevented Pittsburgh from getting into the playoffs. Because if they would have done the tie, we would have seen the Chargers play the Bengals here, and the Raiders would have been playing Kansas City. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But the Raiders said, no, we were playing for the win the whole way through. There was talk about maybe, would they settle and let the time run out? But they were like, no, we when they did that, we just had our desire that we were going to try to end it the way we only knew how. So they were definitely going for the win. They're definitely going for a victory here. And yeah, now they're going up against a Cincinnati team that, I hate to say this, guys, Wildcard weekend has not been very kind to the Cincinnati Bengals. Listen to this. All time, Cincinnati is 1-8 in Wildcard weekend, and they've lost 7 in a row. So Cincinnati, this is not a good matchup. This is not a good round. This round is like a boogeyman for them, man. So I hope Cincinnati can play. Look, what they're going to need is they're going to need Joe Burrow. Burrow's going to have to be healthy. He's got to be 100%. I know he's dealing with some injuries, so that might hurt. Obviously, the Raiders have a decent defense, a good enough defense that they could cause problems. And on top of that, Burrow, he's going to need to rely on Joe Mixon. He's going to have to rely on Jamar Chase. He's going to have to rely on those guys, because if they do, that's a great opportunity. Cincinnati will win this easily. But if the Raiders are able to keep those guys in line and keep this close going into the fourth quarter, this could smell upset, and we could see the Raiders knock out the Cincinnati. So it's very possible. But I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they'll get the job done. It's a little lower scoring than Anthony has it, because I do believe it's going to be a little more tighter. My final score is 21-17. I got the Cincinnati Bengals knocking out the Raiders and advancing to the divisional round. So with that said, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Bengals with what they've been able to do. I mean, obviously, this win obviously came against Kansas City, and thank goodness Joe Mixon's cleared the from the COVID-19 list, and he'll be able to go, because Joe Burrow's going to rely on him, and obviously with Jamar Chase as well. And like you said, Cincinnati is due for a playoff victory. The closest they came, and come on, guys, you know where I'm going with this. The closest that the Cincinnati Bengals came to winning a playoff.
MF and I had it. MF, do I need to remind you? I believe it was January 2016, Steelers Bengals, the infamous Vontaze Burfict game.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that game very well. If it wasn't for that, Cincinnati would have won.
Yeah, if Vontaze Burfict didn't act like a nog and a diva,
amen.
He probably, I mean, this Bengals team could have won it, but instead Burfict had to do what he did, and then obviously Adam Pac-Man Jones putting his hands on an official, which is an absolute no-no, basically set up the Steelers for that winning field goal. So I think this is the time they're going to do it, but don't count out the Raiders, because this Raiders team, they've overcome so much adversity to get here to the playoffs. I mean, we know everything that they went through. The sudden firing of their coach, John Gruden, for making some disgusting remarks that I'm not even going to bother mentioning. Henry Ruggs deciding to throw his career away by basically getting behind the wheel while intoxicated. All those things could have broken this team, but they came together. They're here, and this team's going to be motivated. But to me, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to win this one. They are totally due to finally taste a playoff victory here. So Cincinnati wins. Florio, let's move on to this next game, and oh boy, you and I are going to have a whole lot of interest, and let's just say it's going to be a chilly one.
Chilly, huh? Okay. Well, I'll set that up for you in a moment. But it's needless to say, Bullock and I are not going to be objective in this game. That'd be a damn lie if we told you that we were going to be. MF will be, because he's going to be the tiebreaker. You know where I'm going with this. this is in our circle. By the way, we ranked the games when it comes to the AFC side, of course, like we did during the regular season. Raiders Bengals came in third. This is the Tony and Mikey special. And Bullock, I've been saying this a lot lately, and I'm going to say it to all of our viewers here. Bullock, you wanted it, you got it. The New England Patriots squaring off against the Buffalo Bills, Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. 8 o'clock. I believe the kickoff's scheduled for 8:15 on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn, they will have it. Buffalo opening up as a 4-point favorite. Now, I know you're thinking, now Bullock and I, we thought that the Patriots and the Bills have never met in the playoffs. Well, guess what? We're wrong. They actually have met in the playoffs before. In the old days, that is. The days of the AFL. I'm talking about 1963. 1963, these two teams played in an AFL divisional playoff in Buffalo. And the New England Patriots, or well, I should say the Boston Patriots, as it says how they were known. They were known as the Boston Patriots. Boston Patriots won that game in Buffalo in 63, 26-8. That was the final score. Other than that, they've never met in the playoffs ever since. So, all right. Now, as far as the weather is concerned, now I'm not a weatherman. I don't play one on TV. But according to the weather website that I usually go off of, I usually check it every day, around my area, around our area, I should say, East Providence, Rhode Island. But according to my weather.com hourly weather forecast, kickoff 8 o'clock or so. Game time temperature, gentlemen, is going to be 5 degrees. It's going to be 5 degrees at game time. By the time the game ends, which will be probably about 3 or 4 hours or so, we're looking at about 3 degrees, and it's probably going to dip down even lower than that by the time the night is over. So 5 degrees is the game time temperature. So, and before I give it to MF to start it off, and it's only fitting MF starts off because he's going to be our tiebreaker, if you will, because you already know where Bullock and I are heading. But we'll give it our professional analysis like we always do. They met, of course, divisional rivals. They met twice during the regular season. The road teams won both meetings. New England won in Buffalo December the 6th on a Monday night. New England won 14-10 on a windy, blustery night where they only threw the ball 3 damn times, and yet they still won. The other meeting was on December 26th, day after Christmas, Gillette Stadium. The Buffalo Bills went into New England and beat the Patriots 33-21, thanks to 314 passing yards and 3 touchdowns from Josh Allen, or as I affectionately call him, JA-17. So Buffalo has the home field because of the fact they won the AFC East for the second year in a row. And they're the New England Patriots are the number 6 seed. The Buffalo Bills are the number 3 seed. I forgot to mention that because of my excitement about this. So with that being said, MF, as I always say, you are the Phil Simms / Tony Romo to my Jim Nance. Our game. This is the one you wanted. I completely concur. So we're doing it for the 3rd time. We had the other 2. What the hey? Let's do it one more time. Why not? So MF, nothing more to say. As the Sims / Romo to my Nance, there's nothing more for me to say except do that thing I like. Hello, friends.
Yeah, and this is it. It don't get no bigger than this one. This is the one that's gonna somebody's gonna be very, very happy in this group, and somebody's gonna be very pissed off when this game goes down on Saturday night. Let's break it down the way we see it. If you really think about this, the one thing that we always talked about is how do you beat certain teams and how do you handle that situation? In round 1, with the blustery wind and how horrible the wind was and the whole 9 yards in Orchard Park, New England beat Buffalo by running the football down Buffalo's throats. Buffalo can't stop the running attack. So they did that. And on top of that, Buffalo really went a little more riskier by throwing the ball downfield. They couldn't establish a run attack, and they got exposed in the first one. In the second matchup, Josh Allen, or like Anthony says, JA-17, is that what you call him, Anthony? JA-17?
You damn right.
All right. Well, JA-17, basically, the way that Buffalo won that game is basically New England dared them. They're like, all right, we're going to take some of your best receivers out. We're going to try to neutralize you. You got to try to win the game. Josh Allen is like, all right, here's how I do it. Throwing it downfield, finding his guys, didn't have any pressure, and New England making the mistake of not going man-to-man, going into a simple zone coverage. That's the one thing you don't do. You don't play zone against JA-17. You saw what happened. He picked them apart. New England shot themselves in their own foot that day. They thought that they were going to be crafty enough, and they thought they were going to easily get away with this one, and they got burned. They got burned bad, and they deserve to lose that game. I think we all can agree with that. Now the third matchup. This is going to be the make or break, and it almost seems like it's almost going to be similar to the battle the first time around, the weather-wise. It's cold. It's going to be about 5 degrees, almost nose diving all the way to 0 with negative wind, with the wind chill feeling -5 to -15 degrees when this game is over. That means, Florio, double layer everything, get your thermals, and get everything ready because we're probably going to be freezing our you-know-what's off on Saturday night. So I'm just warning you.
Wouldn't have it any other way, man. You know how much I love this time of year.
I know. I'm not really I like the cold. I don't like it that cold. You know me. I'm not that kind of cold. I'm going to be wearing my leather and a whole bunch of other articles of clothing just to stay warm in there, man. I am not going into that freezer box. Yeah, no thank you. I'll be prepared.
Get the space heater ready.
Yeah, space heater, 2 space heaters. That's all I'm saying. It's a 2 space heater night. This is the world famous Ubuntu Index. It's gonna be in play on Saturday night. Let's say that. Anybody who knows WJAR Channel 10, it used to be a thing from the legendary Art Lake, God rest his soul, and I think Salty Brian too. They used to use the world famous Ubuntu Index. Actually was first brought by Frank Coletta. He was the one that always used to reference about the world famous Ubuntu Index. Anyway, I kind of feel this could end up being that first matchup. New England is probably going to establish a run early on Buffalo. Can Buffalo stack the line? And they're going to have to go maybe 7 or 8 in the box to stop the run attack and force Mac Jones to throw the football. And now I hope Buffalo saw what Miami did last week to Mac Jones, because maybe, just maybe, you might use a blueprint of what Miami did, and maybe that might help you guys. That might help Buffalo win that game, because you saw what Miami did. They did 0 coverage, blitz, and pressure, and for most of the game, Mac Jones did not like that pressure. He felt uncomfortable, as you guys know, and I know Michael Bullock knows, second pass of the game, pick 6 for the Dolphins. Pick 6. So, Buffalo, the blueprints are laid out. for how to handle Mac Jones. So that would be the one thing you got to watch. But if New England's able to establish a run attack early in this game and start to do what they did in that first matchup, I hate to say it, Anthony, you guys are 1-out, and New England goes through, and they knock out the Patriots knock out the Bills. We get an upset, and New England moves on to round 2. But it's at home. It's gonna be in the cold. Both teams are great in cold weather games, so that's a wash. Neither will go. If this turns into a dogfight and it goes down the wire, I gotta go with the team that has more of the playoff experience. Yes, Belichick is the greatest under these pressures, but Buffalo is game tested. They know what to do. They feel the pressure on this. To me, I hate to say it, I got to go with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo advances to the in the playoffs. They go to the next round. It's going to be a low-scoring game for me. 17-14. I got Buffalo knocking off New England and advancing to the divisional rounds. Michael Bullock, it's yours, my friend.
Yeah, this is the ultimate rubber match here. I mean, both sides have won one in their respective team stadium. So it's only fitting it comes down to this and to see who moves on to the divisional round. For New England, they need to set the tempo early. They need to run the ball, and they gotta take time on the clock and keep Josh Allen and that offense literally on ice. And yeah, because running, I think, is the only way it's going to give them a chance to win. I mean, you'll still see some pass plays from Mac Jones, but the defense has got to get better, especially containing the run. Because lately, it's been a tough go-around for the Patriots. And for the Buffalo Bills, like you said, Josh Allen just needs to play his game just like he did in New England. And the defense just needs to do what they did in New England. If they can do all that, they're definitely going to win this one. So, man, oh man, this is a tough one. I mean, here's the thing, guys. I mean, look, do I want to see the New England Patriots win this one? Absolutely. I want to see it. But I got to go with the better team here. I got to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this one. I mean, look, they're at home. They're going to have that wild Bills Mafia there cheering them on. They got the better offense. They got a good defense here. So, I wouldn't be surprised if New England pulls off the upset, but I just think, and plus, they're not going to forget the last time the Patriots and Buffalo played in Buffalo. The Patriots won that one. You know Buffalo's going to want some payback for that one. So, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills here, but I would not be surprised if New England pulls off the upset. So, like I said, professionally, I want the Bills to win. But as a fan, I want New England to win. So, Florio, it's yours.
Wow, I'm surprised to hear that. I really am. I thought for sure you were going with New England there, Bullet. But
I got to be the professional here. I mean, like I said, Florio, as a pro, I got to go with the better team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but as a Patriots fan, I want them to win.
Absolutely. Same here.
Look, you've said it yourself before, so
yeah.
I'm just going with my professional instinct and going with the Bills.
All right. Very good. So, all right. So with that being said, getting into this one here, the Bills and Patriots split their season series. Barring swirling winds and snowfall, Buffalo has the advantage because of its explosive third-ranked scoring offense. In Week 16, Buffalo poked holes in New England's stingy number 1 ranked scoring defense, racking up 33 points and 428 yards at Gillette Stadium. Quarterback Josh Allen threw for 314 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the Bills rushed for 114 yards and a touchdown. Patriots rookie quarterback Mac Jones has performed at an efficient level, throwing for 22 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, but he's not a high-volume passer equipped to match Allen and the Bills' high-powered offense. Allen has thrown for 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in his last 2 games against the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Jets, which raises some concerns, but I believe he'll break out of his funk against the Patriots, who yielded 5.7 yards a play in the previous matchup between these teams. And let's not forget, Allen can use his legs to lure an extra defender in the box or challenge the Patriots' 22nd ranked run defense. Either way, Buffalo will move the ball and come away with the win. So I will make this unanimous. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills to win this game as well. My final score is going to be 28-21. The Buffalo Bills defeat the New England Patriots. And to the Buffalo Bills, the only thing I can say, as a dedicated and loyal Bills fan all these years, we started a job last year. Let's finish the damn job we started last year. Let's take the first step on that journey. So get a win here, and we'll let the chips fall where they may after that. But I'm going with Buffalo to win, of course, 28-21. But if New England were to steal it, I would not at all be surprised. I wouldn't. But based on what I've seen in the last month, it looked dicey. New England had a 2-game lead, and then the Indy game happened, and that's really where New England's free fall started. I mean, they faded, they fizzled down the stretch. Buffalo sizzled down the stretch. They won the games they had to win. They've won 4 in a row after that gut-wrenching loss to Brady and the Bucs. Since then, they've won every game, winning the games they were supposed to win against Carolina, stealing one in Foxborough, and then taking care of Atlanta and the Jets. Ugly wins, but who cares? We won. But let's finish the job we started last year, guys. That's all there is to it. We were so close last year, we could taste it. We got to do a little more work this year, but I believe we're ready. So 28-21, Buffalo wins. That's my message. So with that being said, let's move on to the Sunday slate of games. And we started off with the first of the 3 games that will take place on Sunday afternoon. As we move to the NFC side of things, the first of the NFC wildcard matchups, it will be the number 7 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles, squaring off against the number 2 seed, the reigning and defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida. On Fox, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi will be on the call. Tampa Bay opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. Playoff history, this will be the 5th meeting between these 2 teams in playoff history, and it's split 2-2. 1979, these 2 teams met in an NFC divisional playoff in Tampa. Tampa won 24-17. 2000, they met in this very round, the wild card round, at the old. By the way, 79, that was the old Sombrero, Tampa Stadium. 2000 in Philadelphia at the old Veterans Stadium. Wild card round, Philly won 21-3. The following year, they met again in Philadelphia, also at the Vet. That was another wild card playoff, and Philadelphia won going away 31-9. And the most recent meeting, 2002, played in January of 2003, once again at the old Vet. And it was and ironically, it was the very game. It was the final game ever at Veterans Stadium. The NFC Championship game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won that score of 27-10. They went on to win the Super Bowl. So now I know, we were talking about the weather for Kansas City, for Cincinnati and Buffalo. All of a sudden, we actually do have something to keep an eye on here, guys, when it comes to Tampa. I mean, the temperature is not a concern, obviously, because it's Florida. Hello. The high temperature that day is going to be 67 degrees. The low temperature is going to be 54. But this is a 1 o'clock game. Now, I don't know when exactly during the day this is going to happen, but according to my weather.com here, it says for Sunday during the day in Tampa, windy with thunderstorms, especially in the morning. Who knows if that's going to affect later. High of 67, winds west-southwest at 20 to 30 miles an hour, chance of rain 90%, and higher wind gusts possible. So that's something we got to keep an eye on as that game progresses. So we could be in OMF. You know how much I love the cold and the snow and all that. MF has a certain weather game he likes. He likes to see rain. He likes to see mud. And if those conditions hold up, MF could get his wish. You never know. We could get a rain and mud game on Sunday. And I know how much MF would love that. But all kidding aside, Michael Bullock, we started with you. Your old friend, Tom Brady. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers begin defense of their Super Bowl championship against the upstart Philadelphia Eagles. Bucs the number 2 seed, Eagles the 7 seed. Weather concerns aside, who advances to the next round out of the Eagles and the Bucs? Michael Bullock, we started with you. Your old friend Tom Brady starting defense of his latest Super Bowl championship and his journey for number 8.
Yeah, Tom Brady begins the journey towards his 8th Super Bowl title, a record. I mean, it looks like, and they could be one of the favorites to win back-to-back Super Bowl titles, and Tom Brady to win his 8th overall. So, but it ain't going to be an easy one for them because we already know about Chris Godwin, lost for the season with a torn ACL. They got some other injuries, but I think this is where they're going to get Leonard Fournette back. So if rain is going to be a factor, then I think you're going to see a lot of Fournette. But Brady's played in some inclement weather before, so I don't think this is going to change the way Tom Brady plays. I mean, he still got Gronk, he still got O.J. Howard, Scotty Miller, Mike Evans. I mean, he still got some guys here to go on a deep run. While for the Eagles, I mean, they went through so much to get in here into the playoffs, of course, thanks to Jalen Hurts for what he was able to do. So, yeah, I mean, I think Philadelphia will give them some fits early, but I think in the end, I just think it's too much Tampa Bay as far as I'm concerned. So, Brady and the Bucs win, move on to the divisional round. So really got nothing more to say except Florio. The journey for Tom Brady's 8th Super Bowl title starts on Sunday, but by golly, it ain't going to be easy.
No, it's not. Now, here's the thing. The Buccaneers never trailed in their Week 6 victory over the Eagles, but both teams will look different on offense on Super Wildcard weekend. Philadelphia found an identity on offense using quarterback Jalen Hurts and run-pass option designs. He leads the league in RPO pass attempts, 95, and passing yards, 819. The Eagles also field the number 1 ranked ground attack that features Jalen Hurts, who leads the team in rushing with 784 yards and multiple running backs. As for the Buccaneers, they've lost 2 of their top 3 wide receivers in Chris Godwin, torn ACL, and Antonio Brown, the latter of whom the team waived this week as the result of a dispute that started on the sidelines in Week 17 against the Jets. Quarterback Tom Brady won't have a bevy of weapons to carve up the Eagles' defense, but he still has 3-time Pro Bowler wideout Mike Evans and his BFF tight end Rob Gronkowski, which is enough to beat a pass defense that's allowed 28 touchdowns, ranked 21st this season. The Buccaneers' 3rd-ranked run defense should slow down the Eagles' run-heavy offense. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game. My final score, 26-17. Tampa Bay moves on. They knock off Philadelphia. MF, if that weather report's any indication, we could end up getting your favorite, something we haven't seen in a long time. I don't know how much you love it. Rain and mud. You down with that?
Hey, we had a little bit of a cold bowl. This could be a mud bowl. And you know, I love that kind of weather and everything else. You don't get that very often, but if it does, then it's going to make things very, very interesting. But I do believe Tampa's just got enough of the horses. I think they'll be able to navigate through the waters, and they should be able to win that game. So, yeah, I'm with you, Anthony, on this one. And I do believe Michael Bullock also agreed with that. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moving on in the playoffs. So, nothing more to say. Next matchup.
All right. I forgot to mention, and I just found this. Cincinnati has according to the FPI, Cincinnati has a 67.5% chance. It's about 68% going with Cincinnati. Buffalo came in at 61.6%, about 62% going with Buffalo. Tampa Bay, 77.4%, 77% going with Tampa Bay. They're the biggest. They're the biggest favorite of the week according to the FPI. Second biggest spread. But anyways, now we move on, gentlemen, to the game that will be played at 4:30. That'll be streaming. That'll be on CBS. It'll also be streaming on Paramount Plus, and it's also going to be on Nickelodeon because we all know last year the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints had a wild card game that was simulcast on Nickelodeon. We'll get into the details in just a moment, but we're gonna get into only because of the history. You can make an argument that this is the game of the week on the NFC side of things because we know the legendary playoff history between these two teams. The numbers, I believe it's the number 6 seed, San Francisco 49ers, squaring off against the number 3 seed, the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, Jerry World. We don't need to worry about the weather because it's indoors, for goodness sake, so we're not going to worry about that. And it's on CBS, and on the call for that one, hello, friends. Yes, indeed. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Jay Feely, they're going to be there. And for all you kiddies out there who love Nickelodeon and all that, working the game for Nickelodeon, it will be Noah Eagle, the son of Iron Eagle, alongside Nate Burleson, Gabrielle Nevea Green, and Dylan Gilmer. Where's Lex Lumpkin at? That's all I'm saying. I'm a Lex Lumpkin guy myself, but
I think Dylan is taking over for Lex. I think they removed that. I think Lex lost his spot, and now Dylan is taking over.
Fair enough. But he was a big hit last year. But anyways, that's who's going to be calling the game for Nickelodeon. So just to clear that up. So all right, series history, gentlemen. This is going to be the 8th time. They've met 7 times in postseason before. The Dallas Cowboys lead the postseason series by a count of 5-2. First playoff meeting came in the 1970 NFC Championship game in San Francisco. Dallas Cowboys won by a score of 17-10. They met again in the same round the following year, 1971 NFC Championship, this time in Dallas. Same result. Dallas Cowboys won 14-3. They met again the following year. This time it was in the divisional playoff in San Francisco, 1972. Dallas Cowboys won 30-28. And then, of course, perhaps maybe the most well-known playoff game of all time between these two teams. The 1981 NFC Championship game, January of 82, Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The catch. That's all you need to know. 49ers won, finally get off the schneid. They finally beat Dallas in the playoff game, 28-27. That was in 81. And then in 92, another NFC Championship game in San Francisco, but this time it was the Dallas Cowboys. They won 30-20. Met again the following year. This time it was it was the NFC Championship again the following year in Dallas. Dallas won 38-21. Their last playoff meeting was in 1994, January of 95, the NFC Championship game in San Francisco, and the San Francisco 49ers won that one by a count of 38-28. So that's the story. So let's get into this. The 49ers have to find a way to slow down the Cowboys' number 1 ranked scoring offense, and their playing style could turn this into a low-scoring matchup. The 49ers' defense ranks 5th in passing yards allowed and 8th against the run, so the Cowboys cannot focus on a glaring weakness, which may lead to a slow start. Meanwhile, head coach Kyle Shanahan's staple ground attack can puncture the Cowboys' defense, which gives up 4.5 yards a carry, 24th. After a one-game absence because of a hand injury, quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo threw 2 interceptions but moved the ball up and down the field for 316 yards against the LA Rams last Sunday. More importantly, the 49ers may have an emerging playmaker in wideout Jawan Jennings, who caught 6 passes for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unlike San Francisco's defense, which doesn't have a noticeable soft spot, Dallas ranks 21st in passing yards allowed and 16th against the run. The 49ers can dominate time of possession if they avoid turnovers, something that's feasible with the 7th-ranked ground attack. The 49ers will keep Dallas quarterback Dak Prescott on the sideline, while running back Elijah Mitchell and wideout Deebo Samuel gain chunks of yardage in the run game. Gentlemen, I don't often do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm pulling the trigger, and I'm calling for the upset. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers to win this wildcard game. 49ers steal one in Jerry World. My final score, 23-20. San Francisco steals one in Dallas. So, not much more to say. MF, you think of the legendary hit playoff history between these two teams, and on Sunday, they get to add Chapter 8 to this legendary rivalry.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It is indeed Chapter 8 in the rivalry. Dallas has won the majority of these battles. I believe they are 5-2 in the history between them and the 49ers. So
that is correct.
So whatever you can say is what it is. But the one thing I will say, and at the end of the day, is that yes, when you look at how this plays out on Wild Card Weekend, you kind of have to wonder: is there a matchup here? Could there be something there? And I actually think that yes, if there's one team you do not want to see in the playoffs, was the 49ers. This was the one team that I really like, and I really am very, very, very open about more than anything else. You're absolutely right, Anthony. You had every right to go with this pick, and I'm not. The thing is, can Jimmy Garoppolo rise to the occasion? He has the moments where he's up and down. He needs to play a great game. He's got the weapons, with the running attack, with Elijah Mitchell, with Deebo Samuel, with Jennings, with George Kittle. That's a lineup that can win a game. As long as Jimmy Garoppolo does not, because he's probably going to make a few mistakes. As long as they're not game-killing mistakes, like a bad INT or something like that, there's a very good chance we could see an upset and that the 49ers can win this game. I wouldn't be shocked if they do, but it is Dallas. And I know a lot of people have been hearing about Dallas and everything else and blah, 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 blah. I think Dallas is about to silence the critics. And I think a lot of people have been saying, and they've been hearing this stuff about, oh, I think the Niners are going to win. I think the Niners are going to win. I think you guys are the most vulnerable team out of the teams coming into Wild Card Weekend. You're probably going to be the one that's going to get the upset. You're on upset alert. You're probably going to lose. Dallas will figure it out. For some odd reason, they always have. I believe they will. Trust me. I thought they were going to rest their guys and they were going to, say whatever. And they did it, and they stomped all over Philly. Philly got stomped. So I think it could happen again. So I think Dallas is going to win this. And this isn't going to be close. I'm actually going to call for this to be a 2-touchdown margin. I think it will be 35-21. The Dallas Cowboys advances to the next round of the playoffs. So, Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah. What can you say? I mean, obviously, the history of this of these two great franchises, and yeah, I mean, and Florio's right. I mean, he has every right to pick this 49ers team, but I think the thing is, and Fletch even just said it, this Cowboys team, I mean, they've been hearing it for so long that they're vulnerable and they're not a good team, but watch out. I mean, I think this team has got the chance to go on a huge run. Whether they actually do it or not remains to be seen. But I think I'm more with Fletch here. I think the Dallas Cowboys win, move on to the divisional round, and hopefully maybe silence the critics for now. So nothing else to say. Florio, it is yours.
And to put that story to bed, it's for me, it's the classic case of I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to Dallas. That's all I'm saying. So I would not be surprised if they won. I certainly wouldn't, but I don't know. I just got this feeling about the Niners right now. Hey, I didn't win Pigskin Pick 'em for nothing, you know. So, but anyways, getting into our final Sunday game, it'll be the Sunday night game, Sunday Night Football on NBC, kickoff around 8:15 or so. And it's the final AFC playoff matchup. It'll be the number 7 seed, the Pittsburgh Steelers, squaring off against the number 2 seed and the two-time reigning defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. On NBC, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, they'll be there. Kansas City opening up as a 12.5-point favorite. Both of these teams have met in the playoffs before. They have met. This will be their third playoff meeting, and all these games have been at Arrowhead. 1993, which was, I believe, played in either December of 93 or January of 94. It was the wild card round in Arrowhead. Kansas City won that game 27-24 in overtime. The other meeting in the most recent, 2016, January of 2017 in Arrowhead. Pittsburgh won that game. Pittsburgh stole one in Arrowhead, 18-16. That was the final there. So as far as what the weather could be, we could be looking at cold weather in that area. I don't have the full weather forecast, but the low temperature, the nighttime temperature is like 27 degrees. So it's going to be a chilly night in Kansas City as well. So there isn't much more to say, MF. But the Kansas City, we talked about Brady starting the journey for his 8th Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs, they got to start their journey. They got to put in a little more work. Because remember, last year, the last few years, they were the number 1 seed. Not this time. They're the number 2. They got to put a little more work in. But nonetheless, they start their journey for a possible 3rd straight AFC title.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is how is this going to look? How's this going to feel? The whole 9 yards. At the end of the day, it's just going to be one of those situations. You just don't know how this is going to play out. Honestly, Pittsburgh was very fortunate to make the playoffs. They were very fortunate to get the breaks that they got, and it actually helped them get to where they needed to be playing in the playoffs, to be playing for an opportunity at the title, to just be in there is an honor and a privilege. But now you're going up against, by far, probably one of the big favorites in the AFC with Kansas City. At the end of the day, I just feel like Kansas City is just going to be overwhelming. They're just too strong of an offensive team more than anything else. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Kansas City to win this one. It's going to be unfortunate because this probably might be the last time we see Ben Roethlisberger playing in the NFL, but, there's really nothing more to add. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you. Kansas City wins.
Yeah, and like you said, Kansas City's got some work to do if they want to get to a third straight Super Bowl. I mean, last two times they were the number one. They were the number one seed. Well, not this time. They're going to be playing on Wildcard weekend. So, yeah, they got a lot of work to do if they want to get there. But, I mean, the beginning of the season was a little bit of a struggle, but they have been red hot as of late. And once again, a team that nobody wants to play come playoff time. I mean, and of course, we all know. I mean, Florio, I'm pretty sure you remember this. You remember the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs met in the playoffs.
Ice game, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, in 2016, obviously in early 2017. I mean,
Yeah,
and
January
remember,
17th. Yeah.
and remember, that game was originally supposed to be played in the afternoon.
That's right.
But because of that ice storm that you were talking about,
it became a Sunday night game.
It became a Sunday night game. So, and Pittsburgh won because they basically all their scoring came from the foot of Chris Boswell. I mean, Kansas City got a touchdown in that game, and yet it wasn't even enough. So, and Kansas City has thought about that. I mean, yes, they won a Super Bowl, they've been to another, but they're thinking about the last time they played Pittsburgh in the playoffs, where Pittsburgh ended their run. So, yeah, unfortunately for Big Ben, I think this is going to be his swan song because Kansas City's just playing too well right now with that offense led by Patrick Mahomes, and the defense has played a whole lot better lately. So, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to win this one. So, Florio, it is yours.
And I have to make a quick correction. Last year they were the number one seed. The year before they were actually the 2 seed. Baltimore was the number 1 seed, but nonetheless, Kansas City still got there. So, but they're the 2 seed again for the second time in 3 years. So, but anyways, the Chiefs defense sparked a midseason run after a 3-4 start. Kansas City has won 9 of its last 10 games with some balance between the sides of the ball. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes started to heat up in Week 14 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Since that game, he's thrown for 12 touchdowns and just 1 interception, with at least 258 passing yards in each game. On top of that, Kansas City's defense forces turnovers at a high rate, logging 14 takeaways since Week 13. The Steelers don't have the offensive firepower or the defense to keep pace with the Chiefs. Going into Week 18, they ranked 21st in scoring and 22nd in points allowed. On Sunday, Pittsburgh scored just 16 points in an overtime battle with the Baltimore Ravens, who had given up the most passing yards heading into the game. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger hasn't thrown for more than 159 yards in an outing since Week 14. He'll likely play his last game for the Steelers next week, Sunday night, as Pittsburgh goes down in a double-digit loss at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs will beat the Steelers convincingly for the second time in 4 weeks. Kansas City wins. My final score, 34-21. Kansas City beats Pittsburgh. And now to the final game of the night and of the wild card weekend. History is about to be made, gentlemen. A Monday night wild card game. Not the first time we've had a Monday playoff game. December 26th of 1988. And ironically, the Los Angeles Rams played in that game. They went up against the Minnesota Vikings at the old Metrodome in Minneapolis, only because it was the day after Christmas. They obviously didn't want to play the game on Christmas Day, obviously, but nonetheless, it was December the 26th of 88, and the Minnesota Vikings won that game by a score of 28-17. Actually, it was a Monday afternoon game in Minnesota that year. So that was December 26th of 88, the only other Monday playoff game before this year. It'll be Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:15 kickoff. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Louis Riddick, Lisa Salters. And I'm pleased to announce, yes, you want them? You got them. You're getting the Manning brothers. Manning brothers are going to have a playoff telecast on ESPN2. So for all you Peyton and Eli fans out there, you're going to get them on Monday night as part of this game. So there you go. The Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California, the home of Super Bowl 56. And believe it or not, guys, this is not their first playoff meeting. They've met once before. 1975, these two teams met in the, I believe this was a divisional playoff game. Am I reading that right? Yes. So this was an NFC divisional playoff game in Los Angeles. And I think, they were the Cardinals were known as the St. Louis Cardinals, not to be confused with the baseball team, but they were the St. Louis Cardinals and the LA Rams in 1975 in LA. And the Rams won that game 35-23. So that's the history there. Rams opening up as 4-point favorites. So Michael Bullock, started with you. Final game of the wildcard round. History will be made on Monday night. First ever Monday night playoff game. Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams. Bullock, take it home. Who you got?
Yeah, like you said, this is definitely going to be a great way to close out Super Wildcard Weekend. And, yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, the Cardinals, they go into the playoffs on a little bit of a downward spiral. I mean, they were on an absolute roll, but lately they just haven't been playing well. And then when it comes to the Rams, I mean, obviously you got that offense with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Jefferson, and of course with Beckham. So I don't know. I just got this funny feeling. I got to go with the LA Rams to win this one. I just think they're the better team, and this Arizona Cardinals team is just not. They're just not the same team that they were earlier in the year. So I'm going with the LA Rams to win. So Florio, it is yours.
Yeah. The Rams and Cardinals split the season series with each club winning on the road. Also, both teams won those games amid a hot streak. Arizona started the season 7-0, knocking off Los Angeles in week 4. Before Sunday's loss to the 49ers, the Rams had won 5 consecutive games, which included a victory over Arizona in Arizona on a Monday night. Both teams will try to bounce back from a Week 18 loss. On one hand, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford pushes the ball downfield, but he struggled with turnovers late in the season, throwing for 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions over his last 4 games. Despite Stafford's mistakes, the Rams can outscore the Cardinals. Arizona averaged 20.8 points a game between weeks 15 and 18, without wideout DeAndre Hopkins, who's on injured reserve with a torn MCL. The Rams will win this game, but they'll give the Cardinals a few chances to steal another game on the road with some careless giveaways in the passing game. LA squeaks one out at home. I agree with Bullock. Rams win 28-24. MF, take it home.
If the Cardinals would have played the way that they played earlier in the year, I would have easily put Arizona over LA. But I just don't see them winning it now. Too many injuries, too many mistakes, and I just feel like the Rams are due here. So I got the Rams winning as well. I really got nothing more to add. Anthony, let's just call it for the night.
All right, and that will put the bow on this super wild card edition of Strictly Sports NFL Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you again tomorrow night, 11 p.m., over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will review Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage as always. And then Monday night, we're right back here on the Tone 25 for Ridiculously Raw, as I will review Monday Night Raw, the return of my Tony's Take, Impact Wrestling, a historic moment on tonight's Impact Wrestling, which I will address on that show, of course, as well as 205 Live. And then Wednesday, we got Wednesday Night Mayhem over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for NXT 2.0 and AEW Dynamite, as always. And then next Thursday night, it'll be all about the divisional playoffs, the 4 divisional playoff games, and we'll take it from there. So that's it. So until tomorrow night at 11 p.m. for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Yankee Messiah 401, the man who put this all together 10 years ago, the one and only Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the Super Wildcard edition of Strictly Sports NFL Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody. Bye.